The Clean project was developed to support local energy CSOs in Eastern Europe, and it was developed jointly by three NGOs: ECA Club, Guta Club, WCF, and Sustainable Development Center of Akhaltsikhe in Georgia. It is an international project, and we supported 30 civil society organizations in these 4 countries for 3 years. It was mainly EU-funded project, but we also attracted some funding from other sources. Let's start with the context of Eastern Partnership countries, how it looked at the beginning of the project. First, all countries struggling with excessive energy costs and low energy efficiency, especially in residential sector. Public participation was still weak in these countries, and especially in energy-related issues. It as civil society was not present in any decisions taken in the area of energy. National networks of energy or environmental CSOs were weak or also absent. Also, there were some networks of CSOs, but they were not active in energy or environmental field. Energy efficiency was not an agenda of local authorities. It means that local authorities doesn't have clear plans to increase energy efficiency. Local energy policy also was not an agenda of national government. It means that national government does not support local authorities in energy efficiency and doesn't require them to support energy efficiency in their territory. And population was aware about only very basic ways and means for energy efficiency. Overall goal of the project was to build a sectorial regional partnership of civil society organizations in 4 countries. And this goal supposed to achieve 4 lesser goals. First is strengthen civil society organizations for productive interactions with authorities. It means that there must emerge a real cooperation between civil society and authorities in order to increase energy efficiency. The second sub-goal is to raise awareness on energy policies with focus on energy efficiency. And it means to attract a wider public into this discussion over how to address energy needs, energy problems of the community, how to attract more stakeholders, local stakeholders, into this discussion. And third, the sub-goal was to increase accountability of authorities. It means that they have to report and be more open on what they do in general, but in our project we really focused on energy. So they have to publish data on energy consumption, they have to publish and to make public reports on energy performance of public buildings, for example, and this information must be for wide access. And key results of Clean, I'm stopping at 4, but there are many that come in at the end of the presentation. 15 decisions were taken by local authorities that fostered energy efficiency. And such decisions as adoption of sustainable energy action plans, establishing financing tools to support energy efficiency, formalization of working groups that included different stakeholders, and so on. And these decisions were taken due to the work and impact of sub-grantees supported by Clean. 1.3 million residents benefited from activities of sub-grantees. And there are 4 main categories of beneficiaries. First one is improvement of energy services. Second one is public services created by activity of CSOs, like consultations that they provide to people. The third category is improved public participation. So when people can engage with local authorities due to outcomes of activity of sub-grantees. And the fourth one is increased transparency. We reached 25 million people in 4 countries with information on energy efficiency and about the project. And the most important outcome in my point of view, is existence and operation of active network. We have memorandum of the network, and sub-grantees subscribe to uh, make financial or in-kind contributions each year to maintain the network and to keep the position of network coordinator. And we also made a statement in regards to climate conference COP23 and the position paper on local energy efficiency. The big picture architecture of the project. There were 4 co-applicants applied together for this project, and it included Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, and Armenia, which was like coordinated by one organization, and WCF. And even so, you see the WCF box above 3 others. It was a real cooperation. It was not a hierarchy. And we also passed this model of cooperation on our relations with sub-grantees. And these 4 entities were mentoring, consulting, supporting, and helped to grow to local civil society organizations. In first year, we selected 30 local CSOs to be trained and to have a small activity project with a very broad scope of activity. 55 staff of the CSOs underwent 3 trainings on organizational management, on energy efficiency, and on relations with public authorities on monitoring of budgets. In 2016, out of these 30, we selected 15, the best 15, and narrowed the amount of supported CSOs. We introduced tandem projects, and we had tandem projects in each country when two CSOs apply together and have a bigger amount of funding. They other staff from these CSOs completed the 3 learning modules and passed the exam, so adding 52 more CSO staff taught by the project. And in 2017, we again selected 15, not the same ones as in the previous year. Each year it was a competition for this funding between those sub-grantees selected during first year. And we also introduced the seed granting. It is when sub-grantees provide even smaller grants to local small organizations. We had a final clean conference of all partners in autumn last year, and as a result, we have a network of 47 CSOs. The budget of the project was split in half. Half went for sub-granting and another half went for administration, travel, salaries of co-applicants, development of learning modules, awareness raising activities and nationwide, and etc. Now I stop more on activities. What was the training? We had 3 face-to-face trainings. First is the clean initiation in geomanagement, as I told. A clean initiation included information about the architecture of the design of the project and its objectives, outcomes, role of sub-grantees, and also it included information about strategy development, gender-sensitive project planning, working with media, etc. Second training was very specifically dedicated for energy efficient auditing, and sub-grantees received in-depth knowledge on how to do energy audits, what means energy efficiency in building and in governance at the local level. Third training was about local budgets and public participation and how to ensure it. We have experts from authorities explaining to sub-grantees how the system of authorities is organized and where is the points of intervention, what's best to monitor and how to do it, etc. We had online learning and exam, 3 modules with the same topics are published online at Clean website, available in 2 languages, in Russian and English. It can be downloaded, completed. There are video lectures as well. and after the person completes the online course, he or she can pass the exam and receive a certificate of clean that she completed a clean online training. We did 10 webinars, mostly on request. Some of them were, at least two of them were about logical framework, the tool introduced by European Union as a European Commission as part of the project planning cycle, and we passed this knowledge to sub-grantees as well. We simplified it. It is the logical framework we used in our application for sub-grantees. It's not as complex as the one European Commission is using, but it's still a logical framework and helps them to structurize their ideas. This is some pictures from trainings. In Ukraine, we had the first training was in a summer camp. This is Georgia. Again, Ukraine and summer camp. Subgranting. Subgranting was organized in 3 calls, and 2015 was open for all. Next calls were restricted. A simplified logical framework, as I told before again. We had a comprehensive evaluation procedure. It envisaged an international committee. So each of co-applicants was in this committee, and we were voting for each of applications from each country. So at least one person from each of co-applicants have read through all applications. For Ukraine, it was we received really like 50 applications, and it was quite a lot. So we did administrative check and we shortlisted 17. It was a case in 2015, of course, when the first call was launched and it was open for all. We also provided comments in 1 or 2 rounds on improvement of applications to make them better, because our point was to have a good projects and not to select those who are good at writing of applications. What we see as the factor of success for the project is the broad framework of eligible actions for sub-grantees. Essentially, they were allowed to do everything which related to energy efficiency and with authorities. It allowed them to develop their own strategy and not to implement just our own vision, and also contributed to sustainability of the project that they can continue after the project ends, because the activities they started within the project were in line with their strategies, the long-term strategy, and they're going to continue it anyway. In 2017, the distribution of seed grants contributed to capacity development, and one of the insights from this project is that sub-granting is by far the most effective tool for capacity building of both of co-applicants and of entity, mainly of entity which distributes funds to third parties. How we developed the network. At the end of 2015, it became apparent that without network coordinator, it will be difficult to have a network. So we introduced the position of network coordinator, and she started to work in early 2016. We had mailing lists, international for all members of the network and national. Final meeting of the network, and we had regional networking meeting in 2016. One for Georgia, Armenia, another for Ukraine and Moldova. 3 tandem projects also fostered cooperation between sub-grantees, and through network, sub-grantees and co-applicants as well can access expertise of all network members and also access broader circles of networks. So EaP Club is a member of Ukrainian Climate Network, of Climate Action Network, and through EaP Club as co-applicant, other sub-grantees and co-applicants can also get access to these networks. We also have good relations with some of national authorities, and for sub-grantees, such possibility available through us. And the same works for other countries. Through WCF, we have access to European energy networks and to Bayern Energy, for example. Core team coordination. We had 45 Skype calls, a joint working platform, a Google Drive was used. It was really convenient when 10 people can together work on one document, comment, and not to send it around each new time. We had two internal evaluations, a self-assessment of sub-grantees and co-applicants. It was done in the form of questionnaire. Each sub-grantee has to complete. The reports are available. If you're interested to read, just let me know how they assess their performance within Clean, and it helped us to design the trainings, the webinars that are most needed, and actually to design the network development documents, network strategy documents. We had 8 coordination meetings of co-applicants of core team, and working groups were established dedicated to specific issues like monitoring, networking, co-funding or fundraising, communication, training and modules development. So other results of CLEAN. 19 memorandums of understanding signed with authorities, 9 other actions by authorities to support energy efficiency. For example, they established departments of energy efficiency in several cities, and they allocated funds for energy efficiency measures due to impact of sub-grantees. We had a case in Ukraine when sub-grantee, together with a public facility, wrote a project for thermal insulation of the building and applied for local competition launched by our authority, and the funds were granted. So our sub-grantee was managing this project on the insulation of public facility. 31 capacity building activities run for local authorities. We educated energy managers, workers, employees of public facilities, local deputies. We consulted authorities on development of CEPs and other energy strategy documents. One way or another, sub-grantees interacted with 32 local authorities. We built 6 strategic support partnerships, and these are like CAN Climate Action Network, a civil society forum of Eastern Partnership, Bayern Energy, etc. And clean activity continues in frame of another projects in all countries. So sub-grantees, some were together with co-applicants applied and attracted grant funding to continue doing the same work that was started in frame of clean for other projects as well. So the clean results are sustainable in time and continue to deliver even after the project clean as itself ends. So the project clean is ended and the network is started. Main insights from the project, and in my opinion, the most valuable part of this presentation. First is to be the change you want to see. If you want to have honest, transparent authorities that are attracting us as civil society to cooperate, we have to behave in the same way, to treat in the same way our sub-grantees and partners as well. So we had really good relationship with partners and with sub-grantees to ensure that there are no any misunderstanding and no pressure on them. And it was really a partnership, not a hierarchy. Good sub-grantees really it is essential for success, but also it requires a lot of efforts to identify and select the entities that best fit the program of sub-granting. And here is the point to select not the best like as standing alone, but to select the best, those that fit the best the program, because sub-granting programs are different, and most of sub-granting focuses to rise the capacity of CSOs. So it is necessary to select such CSOs that have uh, like medium growing capacity and especially have an inner potential for developing this capacity further. Sub-granting is by far the most effective instrument to build capacity of CSOs. We joke in EaPE Club that the organization that benefited the most from clean is EaPE Club, because we really have a qualitative change in our activities, in scope of our activities. We raised our scope to international level, because now we work with 4 countries, and before clean we were local, national, something like that, CSO. Cooperation with local authorities could be much smoother if relevant incentives provided to them. It means that it is good if the project envisages any infrastructural measures that can be supported out of this project, or any consulting support that could be directed towards given to local authorities. Because to build a partnership, we have to offer something to them, some sort of support they need. And it was not the case in Clean, and many sub-grantees reported that it hampered their possibility to start cooperation with authorities. After they started, it went much easier, but to enter into this cooperation, it happens really easier if we can say that, for example, our project can develop a sustainable energy plan for you, or we can attract funding or provide co-funding for some installation measures, etc. And important to transfer money in several tranches. So it's just a rule for all projects, and it also works due to exchange rate fluctuations. In Ukraine, it changes significantly during the year, the 1 year. And if we have transferred all money in one tranche at the beginning of the year, we could get into a real problem at the end of the year when the exchange rate changes. And also, it is important to pay attention and not underestimate language compatibility within the core team, because translation during Skype calls, it exhausts everybody and takes so much time. It is really important issue to have at least one person from each organization and have them communicate in the same language really fluently without translation. That's it for the presentation. I will be happy to answer any questions. The presentation will be available online at WCF website, and you can always contact me with any follow-up you might have of this webinar and ask other questions. So I'm ready to answer. If any, please put your question in the chat or try to speak. I don't know if you can speak in this platform. Try to unmute and just ask a question. Okay then, so if there are no questions, I guess we can close the webinar. Thanks everybody for attendance, and I hope you enjoyed and it was useful for you. Oh, yeah, I see, there is a question. So, okay, the plans for the project. The project is closed now, so the plan is to submit the final report. And plan for the network is we already applied for new grant funding on behalf of several sub-grantees from many countries, and plan is to continue to run the network, so to continue produce position papers to coordinate activity in countries. There are plans to attract more organizations into Clean, and we will continue from now on as a network. It won't be a project anymore, Clean, it will be a network. What was the aim of of the project to create a network. And if probably some subgrantees and maybe even co-applicants also would apply for another funding jointly within their country or between countries. At least we have 47 reliable partners who can be invited for any sort of joint activity or mobilized for providing comments. So yeah, we have a network coordinator working, and yeah, the plans are to continue the network, and the agenda of the network is to increase visibility and role of local energy policy, local energy situation. So to have NGOs that work on a level of local authorities with energy issues, but also to bring the issue of necessity and role of local energy solutions at the national level, to have national governments address the issues of local authorities in terms of energy. Did I answer your question? About energy efficiency. So we choose energy efficiency because it was a pressing topic for all countries. It was a hot topic, but from a broader perspective, we treat energy efficiency as part of energy solutions in general. And if we have NGOs engaged with energy issues, they probably can respond if any harmful to environment plans arise within authority. So the bigger scope is to use energy efficiency as an entry point for CSOs to get into contact with local authorities and to build their expertise in energy field, so they can respond and observe, watch over developments in energy sector, because energy is, to best of my knowledge, is the most harmful sector for environment. And if the plans for energy are designed without public participation, it can be really bad for the community. So we want to have people engaged with local authorities to have expertise people who can provide feedback and comment on energy plans of authorities. And energy efficiency was used as a pressing topic, which is easy to understand, easy to access, and really on the agenda of society and authorities at the moment. Hard to say, energy transition can be viewed as part of climate change. We have I'm not really prepared to talk about plans of the network, but as I remember, there are four directions of work, and one is sustainable energy action plans. Second is energy cooperatives, and there is also awareness in climate change. So energy transition might be integrated into either energy cooperatives or climate change issue. And for climate change, it's more about communication and awareness, and for energy cooperatives, it's more about hands-on measures. And in Georgia, they have really good experience with disseminating model of energy cooperatives that produce solar water heaters for households. And if you are interested, just write me an email and I get you in contact with Georgian coordinator who can tell you more about that, how it works with energy cooperatives in Georgia. Thank you for asking. If anything else? Well, okay then. If no more questions, thank you again for attendance, and feel free.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We still have a question?
No, looks like not.
Thank you very much for this explanation of the CLEAN project. And we will try and put it online for those who couldn't attend it.
Okay, good luck. Have a nice day, everybody.
Oké, tot ziens.